what influenced you to get into the world of comics? What made you want to create stories? And what also was the origin story for the name Spooky Chan?
Masochism, that's why I'm in the comics, obviously.
Future generations can get this urge, stay woke, youngin', and avenge these nerds.
Welcome back to another episode of Nerds of the Rounds, guys. It's your host, Sebastian.
It's your boy Law.
And your boy Tone from across the hall.
We have another great, awesome creative series for you guys this time around, because we're going to get her name right, because I'm going to pick on George right now. George, if you listen to this, we love you, but I'm going to pick on you. We have the awesome Chandra Free. Chandra, what's up?
Well done. There was a quick second. I didn't believe it. There was a quick second. I wasn't sure. I was about to take bets.
Yeah, he's got a track record of really butchering names. And we're like, dude, it's okay if it's a fantasy name because they don't exist. But real people, we got to get that shit right.
That's right.
We want to deep dive into who you are as a creator. So we want to know what influenced you to get into the world of comics, what made you want to create stories, and what also was the origin story for the name Spooky Chan? I want to jump in that.
That's a good question. I haven't had that one yet. Masochism, that's why I'm in the comics, obviously.
We're already off to a great start. I love it.
It really stems to my beginning years, like as a little girl, like wanting to tell stories, wanting to draw. Like I was already drawing. My mom says before I could walk, I could draw. Blah blah blah. Whatever, mom. And so I already had this whole envision. I was going to be an animator, and I was going to like design characters and do all this and that. And it's like, oh, but you have to do in between drawings, and you have to really work up to that. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I was like in fifth grade when I decided like that was too much work.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like high school, like I was from middle school to high school, I was already drawing my own comics, and also in elementary to middle school, me and my cousin Lindsay Sebos were doing fan comics. So on the 30th birthday of Sonic the Hedgehog, we were doing Sonic the Hedgehog comics in the 90s. Okay, before it was cool. Before it was cool. It's like we got the Sega bug, and we were just like doing our fan comics. We were doing Disney. We were doing like Animaniacs, Gargoyles, whatever. Like we were drawing everything. Mm-hmm. And so I was always drawing my own stuff too, and I started coming up with my own characters and coming up with my own little comics that I'd do for myself. But when it came time, like in high school, like, well, what do you want to go to school for? There's graphic art. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. There's illustrations. Like, wait, there's a distinction between the two? I want to do illustration. I want to do comics. Like at some like eureka moment, it's like comics. That's it. That's where I want to go. College didn't help with that, but it did give me a foundation in art. I didn't finish college. For all those who want to know that if you can make it in this industry without college education, yes, but it does help. I was almost done with it. But I got what I needed from college, and I was propelled into the world of comics by being seen by a couple of people. Like I sent some fan art to Serena Valentino, and she's like, oh, would you like to do comics with me? I'm like, holy shit, yeah, I would love to do comics with you. She was at SLG back in the day, mid-2000s with Gloom Cookie, and she wanted to see if I would be on her next project. And that didn't quite work out, but it caught the eye of Drew Roush and his wife, Jocelyn Gajwe. And I was brought in as a colorist for their book, Sullen Gray.
Okay.
And while that was going on, I pitched my own book, The God Machine, in 2007. Actually got some bites, found a publisher, and my career in comics took off from there. I don't know why I'm in comics because I hate it, but that's
yeah. Back to that masochism comment from earlier.
all seriousness, I love comics because it's a way to tell your stories, your truths, express yourself artistically and everything else in between. And there's no medium like it. It's just, the problem is like the industry, some of the people in it, and just like, it's also a lot of work, and that's really difficult to put yourself through and not make that much money at the end of the day.
We want to congratulate you on God Machine Volume 1 Revision. You did recently a Kickstarter that blew away everything, got it fully funded. It's out there.
Yeah. We can't even just say fully funded. You had a goal of 24,000. You hit 29,000, almost at 30. That was 21% over your goal. Congratulations!
Yes,
absolutely.
absolutely.
That's the biggest Kickstarter person we've had on our show. That's an amazing pledge. All these people love your work. They want to, either they've read The God Machine and want to reread it again. You have all these new fans that are just joining you for the first time. Congrats!
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was not an easy campaign. Mm-hmm. And also some days it seemed very bleak and sad. But I mean, that's Kickstarter, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, we spent months, and when I say we, me and my partner, Stephen Emond, both like put forth a lot of effort to make this campaign as strong as it was. If it wasn't for him,
shout out to the promo video you guys made. That promo video on the Kickstarter is so good.
Yeah, it is. I love when you're in the snow. Buy my copy.
It's so good. All of it.
So God Machine is about a story about a young man named Guy Salvador who's going through a really difficult time. His girlfriend just recently died. And now he's starting to see monsters and things. And he's questioning, well, what's real, what's not? Until one night, a mysterious man comes to him, tells him that his girlfriend is actually still alive, floating in and out of what is known as the dream worlds. And that Guy is the only one who can go and save her. It's the gods, monsters, teen angst, humor, and everything in between. And it's just the beginning of a larger story.
Nice. I know. So I know from the promo, and I don't know if it's if that was really accurate, but they showed that you're working on other titles. I think they showed a cover for Volume 2, and they showed blank book covers for 3 and 4. So are you looking to get it to 4, or are you looking to expand it past 4 volumes? Past 4. Okay.
Cool. The idea is about 10 to 13 volumes in total.
Nice.
I hope that I live to be that. I want to finish my story at some point. It's all about making this all make sense too. Mm-hmm. Because now self-publishing, publishing through my publisher, my publishing company. There we go. Machina Corpse.
Things you gotta get used to saying, right?
Yeah, it's really weird. But it's like, this is all brand new to us. Like, this is our first big book that we're doing. We did a little mini comic. Now we're doing this, and that's a bigger step because Eric Larson says not to call them floppies, but for better lack of word, floppy. So we did a floppy that was like about 36 pages. It was called First Offerings, and it featured me and Steve's artwork and comics and stuff like that we did collectively together. And mm-hmm. You can find a more extended version on our Gumroad on Machina Corpse. I think it's like gumroad.com/Machina Corpse. You can pick up a copy of that for $5. But it has like some goofy comics that weren't featured in the original one, which is Drac and Floppy, which I love. Dracula and Floppy. It's basically Dracula talking to his roommate, which is a rabbit that says nothing.
That's amazing.
It's so weird. It's just basically Dracula ranting about bullshit. Going back to the God Machine, so there's a lot of new stuff, painfully so, to myself. I still have a couple of things that I need to finish up for the book. So this is me adding new content to it to freshen it up and also clean up some of the language, because it was like the 2000s when I wrote this. It was era's shock humor and, you know, inappropriateness and stuff like that. So I'm toning that down, making it appropriate, doing all the little things, like, because this is my first book that I ever put out. When it got published by Archaea, like, that's my first baby. It's all me. I had no editor on my ass to tell me don't do that, and I did whatever the hell I wanted to do. And now it's like, okay, let's make this a better book, a better product, a better thing. Like, I've rewrote the entire book. So it's going to feature new dialogue, new text, and letters by Taylor Esposito. He's going to be doing my lettering. I originally did the lettering, but I think we can do better than that. Because that's not my specialty, you know? Like, I did good, but we can make it
you got Taylor. That's it. You got the we're gonna call him the Master Chief of letters.
Yeah, game recognizes game, and you want to have someone, you know, to get the most out of your piece. Yeah.
Yeah, and we also got Phil Balsman to do the logo, the new logo for the book,
which looks fantastic.
Oh my god. Ugh. I love that logo.
Yeah.
Like, my other janky logo with my ex-husband was okay. But this is better.
Yeah. It is definitely better. It looks cool too. I love how it's like more centered, and Machine goes around like God, and God is front and center, where in the original iteration, Machine is the big piece and God is just kind of like a subtext.
Right.
Yeah.
So and we got to represent those gods there.
You do, yes, indeed.
There's always this thought in my head. I've got wrist problems. So I only have X amount of time that I can actually do work before they start hurting. So there's always something in the back of my head saying, like, this can't last forever. I can't draw forever. I'm getting older. Things are just not going to work out in the future. I know it. It's not being pessimistic, it's being realistic. So the idea that I've always had is like, wow, wouldn't it be great to have a comic book company and nurture and love all the spooky little people out there, all the misfits, all the underrepresented people, like, that want to tell stories, and like really nurture people who have different styles and, you know, aren't, you know, big two material or something to that effect. Like people that are just not represented. Like, I want to be somebody, I want to be a cheerleader to somebody in the future. I want to put their books out. But first, you know, it's also me being like, I've had so many problems with publishers. I mean, like, I've had good experiences too. And let's put that out there as well. I don't want to, you know, poo-poo on anybody. I mean, like, Storm King Productions, a fabulous company. I love them so much. They love me. It's Sandy King Carpenter's company. She's John Carpenter's wife. So they do John Carpenter things and other titles like that. So they're wonderful people there, and they've always made me feel at home. That's the kind of company I want to be too.
So let him know I'm waiting for the sequel for the thing. So
you mean the proper sequel?
Yes.
Yeah, not that prequel shit.
Some of us have some gripes.
Yes,
you know.
yes. But that's great. I mean, I love the fact, like, you have such a vast experience in this industry. Your story is unique. You've had this story since, you know, 1999, which I want to ask you about in a bit. But you have a successful Kickstarter, and you're able to, you know, and you even mention what your future will be in helping the next generation. You have all of this industry information that you can just provide to people, and you making a effort to be like, I want to bring in people in of different backgrounds, different minorities, sexual orientations, like all that stuff. I think you mentioned it in the Catch the Case podcast. You're like, I don't want to deal with a cisgender white dude. Like, and like, hey, we're all here for it. Like, every cisgender dude I know has a podcast, but hey, we're all three minorities, so we're a little bit we're a little bit different, you know. But
a little bit different.
a little bit. But still, like the fact that you own that and what you want to do and all this information that you can provide to these people that may have not had those opportunities is great. And even if this grand experiment doesn't work, you still have that reach and potential larger network to reach out to those folks when they're moving on up. So I think you're doing the right thing, and I love to see it.
I
It works
mean,
fantastic. Everything, yeah.
Absolutely.
But I think it's a testament of what you're doing again with your company coming up, this company, Machina Corpse. And again with the God Machine, and then your art style is just phenomenal. It just really pops.
Oh my!
It
I
has
love it
this-
so much.
your art style has this beauty, but yet there's this edginess to it where it's just like, holy
there's,
wow. And then
there's
it's
so many like
smooth.
I want to say like Tim Burton, but also Don't Starve, that video game Don't Starve kind of vibe. Like it has so many. I was just like, this is dope. I would love this. Like,
So-
give me more.
So when was it the moment that you realized this is my style? I'm going to pursue this style.
Yes.
And what were the steps you took to get to that style? Like
so this goes back to childhood to now. Like I'm always kind of evolving, always adapting and taking things as everyone does. Like your influences and whatnot. Like Disney, Warner Brothers, like I mentioned Gargoyles, like Batman the Animated Series, like this stuff, like Core was like my big influences when I was like a younger person. And then anime in the 90s, like that stuff also influenced me and like totally turned my world upside down, and like how I incorporated all of those things together. And then it was about 1999. I discovered, like, I was like, I'm done with manga. I'm done. Like, I don't want to do superhero stuff. Like, that's not me. What do I want to do? Like, I don't, like, I'm lost here. And my friend gave me I Feel Sick, a story about a girl by Joan Vasquez. And it opened up my world so much that I'm like, holy shit, I can draw whatever the I want to draw.
Oh wow! Isn't that like a revelation kind of moment for a young person? It's just like, oh, there's more than just this.
Right, like you can just like create your own style, your own like of course there's influences of Jonan in my stuff as well, like the elongated figures, like he's most notably for Squee and Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Invader Zim later. But that would influence like a little kernel, and all of those things just kind of mashed up and like became what was the God Machine in 1999, 2000.
Okay.
And then it evolved because, then I went to college, studied like fine art, did life drawing and whatnot, and incorporated like what I started learning about anatomy, and like all those little things. And also like my painting technique changed. Like I studied painting and I brought that into the fold, and just like brought my fine art background into my comics background. And I've never been one to play by the rules ever. My paneling is very different and organic. Sometimes it can be boxy, but it's just all over the place. Just like sometimes my pages are like a full blown art piece. Like everything has to make sense all together rather than just scene, that kind of thing. So that's like mid 2000s. Now I'm just getting quicker. Well, that's debatable, but I'm learning new things, and I'm always incorporating that into my style. However, that may be like using different tools. I've gone from the Intuos, tablet to my Cintiq that's beside me that you can't see, to my iPad Pro now, where I do a lot of stuff in. Like these are my tools, and I love them, and they always help me improve my game and change the game. So you want to know about Spooky Chan?
Yes,
Actually,
give it
it's
to
not
us.
it's not that clever, but it's cool.
It sticks. I mean, it sticks. It's a great handle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it was about 2001, 2002. I was trying to come up with a good, like, handle, a good, like, name that I could use everywhere. And it's like,